What's up, everybody? JR Raymond back again with the LTC Bowling Show. Obviously, I am your host, and I will be your host. Probably forever on this thing, unless I die and somebody takes over, which I can't really see that happening because this little podcast isn't going to be worth taking over, I don't think, unless you guys do some sweet sharing and get this thing spread around to the world. That would be pretty awesome. But anyway, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Portland Lumberjacks and their repeat in the PBA League this season. So they get to take back the trophy, the Elias Cup, back to Portland where it belongs, and they get to see if they can go for a three-peat next year, 2021. So let's talk about it here in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, Portland Lumberjacks, back-to-back winners here on the PBA Tour, on the PBA League, Elias Cup champions. Let's take a quick listen in to the very end with some of the interviews and everything going on there.
Some Lumberjack love to Bayside up in Portland, Maine. Manager Mac. And the Lumberjacks do it again. Back-to-back Jacks for the Lumberjacks. They've got the cup once again. Portland, they're champs. The PBA on
So, yeah, you see what's going on there with the Lumberjacks taking home the championship again for the second straight year. Next year, they get to take it back to Bayside Bowl. As long as this whole virus stuff doesn't stick around and continue to do all that, we'll be okay, and we shouldn't see any more delays, any more problems with the PBA Tour and everything coming up. So also tonight, you are actually going to today, sometime on Flow Bowling, they're doing the World Series of Bowling, the match play rounds for what happened back in March. I know everybody had to quit, and basically they couldn't finish it out because of the virus situation. So now they're coming back and doing their match play portion starting today for all of the animal patterns out there. They already competed and did the World Championship, so that's good to go. But they are doing the animal patterns starting today, and then we'll see those shows coming up soon. So I can't wait. I know they're redoing the website and redoing some stuff there with the schedule and all that stuff. So hopefully they'll come out with a revised schedule that shows when the next PBA events will be coming up. Are they going to bring back, stuff like cold water and the summer swing, and are they going to turn it into like a winter swing or something starting in January of some sort? What are they going to do? Are they going to bring back all these events that we missed over the summertime and even the fall? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, with Tom Clark and Coley at the helm, trying to run things for Bolero in the PBA. So, but congratulations to the Portland Lumberjacks for back-to-back championships. That's pretty sweet. It was really fun to watch. Definitely a lot more hooting and hollering this year. More so on the high roller side, like you saw Randy say in the show last night. A lot more hooting and hollering from the young guys than it was from the veterans over there at the Portland Lumberjacks. They seemed a little bit more cool, calm, collected, and just kind of with it more so than the high rollers. You saw the high rollers actually catch a couple of bad breaks there, and it turned into a mess at times. So I don't know. I don't know if the hooting and hollering got to them, if it got them a little too amped up and just kind of turned into worse, or if it was just a just a lack of focus, or just some bad shots, or maybe just Portland just bowled better. We'll go with Portland bowled better. I think we're going to go with that. But anyway, the major topic that I want to talk about is actually, let's talk about the PBA Tour and what we can see in the future. What I would like to see now, what I would like to see doesn't necessarily matter. I was just kind of brainstorming, talking with Mason Brantley over at MRB Classic Pro Shop in Rochester Hills. Go see him over at Classic Lanes. He's there just about every night at 6 p.m. after he gets off his day job, and he takes care of everybody that needs anything done down there. But we were talking, and what we were, trying to figure out, how can we get back to an exempt tour, some type of an exempt tour to, guarantee these guys some money. I would chase it if there was an exempt tour, and I knew if I made the top, let's call it 96, and was guaranteed a certain amount of paycheck every week for, let's call it 16 weeks, so 4 months straight, then it would be worth it. So even if it was only 2,000 on bottom for bottom cash, you're guaranteed 2,000 a week for 16 weeks. You're making 32 grand in 4 months. That's better than a basic paying job. So and then you have an opportunity to go and make a little bit more money if you happen to have a couple of good weeks or a whole season. That's really good. You can make a bunch of money depending on how it broke down. I kind of did a little bit of a breakdown for it to see how it could work out, and it would take about $500,000 every event. So you're looking at about $8 million for 16 events to make it happen. But here's the thing, and I know that sounds like an awful lot of money, and that would be like 75,000 on top, and then 75, 50. I think I had it 75, 50, 30, 20. 15, I think, were the top 5, and then bottom cash was 2,000 all the way down to 96th place, and this was based on 96 exempt players or 96 pay spots. I think it was 84 exempt players and then 12 rabbit bowlers who could make it each week. So you pay the whatever it may be, let's call it $500 to bowl the rabbit squad, and if you make it, you're guaranteed 2,000. I think that would be pretty sweet. You'd see a lot of people bowling the rabbit squad, and I think you would see a lot of people bowling it. And it'll all be based on the regional tour as well. So a certain amount of people out of the regionals each year could make it, like just kind of like how they did it before, where they gave exemptions to the points leader for each region or something like that. And then it was champions, and they had a whole list of ways you gained exemption. You win a major, and you get a 3-year exemption and all that stuff. So I think there's a way to do it. It's the biggest problem is the money, and the money's the problem because it's $500,000 every event. Just to make that worthwhile, just to make it worthwhile. Now, obviously, you'd want at least double that to make it even better. Pay 150 grand, pay 4 grand on bottom, whatever it may be. But I think that would be a great start, and I think because of Bolero, because of Coley, and their thousands of bowling centers across the country, I think they kind of have a leg in, and I think they have a leg up to be able to make it happen. And here's why I say that. Because of how many centers they have, because of how many customers they get every day throughout the entire year, they have something that they can present to sponsors more than typical sports. Whereas like the NFL, sure, they're getting millions of viewers for that game during that specific time only on TV. I think the AMF Bolero can offer a lot more as far as sponsorship and viewership and getting in front of consumers you wouldn't typically be in front of. Let's take like Lexus, for example. Lexus is typically a PGA type of sponsor because of, the class. You see there's a lot more money involved in golf, a lot more, higher end type people watch golf, so they're the typical type of person that's buying those cars. But what if you were able to get in front of people, typical people who are just going out for a good time going bowling, because every class goes out and goes bowling. So all these open play times with all these TV screens with the giant, projectors that go on out there, if they're able to offer these sponsorships and say, look, I got 2,000 bowling centers, your ads, your name, everything will be in front of our open bowlers from, morning till night, every day, thousands upon thousands of people go bowling. Let's let's get your ads and sponsorship, or your ads and your name out on our screens, running your ad, running your commercials throughout the day constantly, however many times a day, and see how much more that is worth to them compared to just getting in front of, the PGA or whoever it may be, the NBA, the NFL, whatever it is. I think you have a lot more to offer with Bolero, having all these centers, having all these people that are in and out of their bowling center constantly, to be able to offer on those screens and everything in that direction. So I think it would be, I don't want to call it easy. I don't think it would be easy. I just think it's a different type of push. I think it's a different type of sale that you would have to make, because it's so out of the norm for these companies. Because these companies are normally looking at, primetime TV deals. I want my commercial in front of millions at this specific time. When we have something that we can offer that's like, look, you can get your primetime commercial on that TV show in whatever capacity that you want it. Maybe it's only going to be in front of 1 million people at that time, but you're going to get it seen by how many people go bowling every year. I mean, it's tons. It's so many it's the most participated sport outside of soccer in the world. So people go bowling at least once a year. We're talking millions upon millions of people. So I guess what I'm saying is, if we can convince them that they are able to get their ads, their name, all this stuff seen easier in bowling than some of these other, and I'm not saying they need to not sponsor these other sports. I'm saying, let's try and look at finding, even if we have to go, maybe do we go NASCAR and say we pick up 16 sponsors and have one sponsor per event, and keep their ads running through the centers constantly anyway, so call it $1 million sponsor. $1 million, you get this event or whatever it may be. I don't know what Tom and Coley and Fox are trying to do. Are they looking for one specific sponsor? Are they trying to get one gangbusters, $50 million sponsor to do whatever it is that they want to do? Or are they trying to find multiple sponsors? I'm not really sure. That's, I guess, a conversation to have with Tom Clark, and he'd be able to say. And I've had conversations with Tom a few times before, and this was, a while back before, the Fox News thing. So I think I'm sure they're working on all this stuff, and I'm sure they have some big things in the making. But I think COVID kind of just took a dagger and put it in the heart of bowling right now until we can get this schedule and everything up and running. But I'm optimistic to see where things can go, because I believe that Bolero has a lot more to offer than a typical sporting event does. With having all the TVs in there and the amount of people that go bowling every year, you're not just getting the avid bowler watching. You're not trying to attract sponsors that maybe only bowlers would want to buy, like Lumber Liquidators. You're trying to get sponsors that can reach any demographic, because all demographic of people go bowling. So it's not specific to any specific type of person that they have to reach out for. I think they can find pretty much any type of sponsor now, having the ability to run this all through all the centers. So I think they're in a good position to be able to do whatever they want to do. And I know Coley kind of touched on that a little bit when they first took over, and I think they're putting some plans together, and they're going to run out and do some major work here shortly. So it'll be exciting to see what they come out with for 2021. But I just kind of wanted to touch on it a little bit. And yeah, I think the exempt tour would be the way to go. I think not only would that be exciting, but I think it would be exciting, and it would entice more people to come out and give the elite bowling, more of a trying to become more elite, trying to become more of a competitive bowler. Then it would be worth being a member, making it to where you have to be a member. That's more income coming in there as far as memberships as well. If you have to be a member to bowl the regionals, or you can only bowl so many regionals, so you can't make the points list and get into the exemption. So then it makes it worth being a member, because I know a lot of people, they don't get their membership because it keeps them from bowling other little stuff. But at the same time, if you're able to gain an exemption and know you've got a chance, at guaranteed job basically, and then on top of that, you get to bowl every week. You don't have to bowl any qualifiers, and you have the chance to make more money, make cuts, and do more. I think you're going to attract a lot more bowlers. I think then the college players would be more interested in trying to, become a professional bowler, both on the women and the men's side, than anything. And I think you'd see a lot more women trying to, gain an exemption on the men's tour as well. So I don't see this getting worse. I see bowling getting better because of the position that Coley and Bolero have put us in with Fox and Tom Clark and these guys. I think they've been kind of put into a great situation to where hopefully everybody plays their cards right and this thing turns into some great events and some great times for those bowlers or for all of us as bowlers. So that's all I got for you today. I just kind of wanted to run over and congratulate the Portland Lumberjacks for winning back-to-back, and we look forward to watching them again next year, trying to go for a three-peat back in Bayside Bowl for 2021. But until next time, guys, we will see you probably tomorrow.
They say bowling is a dying sport.
A dying sport.
I disagree. I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree.
BowlerX.com for the love of bowling.